Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for your quick briefing on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today on the show, we're taking a look at how increased return to office mandates are impacting working moms. In short, less flexibility about where and when work takes place means fewer working moms in the workforce. Let's break it down. The historic surge in employment among working mothers seen during the pandemic has reversed sharply in 2025, as new data reveals tens of thousands of American women, especially those with young children, are leaving the workforce. According to federal labor statistics analyzed by the Washington Post, the labor force participation rate for women aged 25 to 44 with children under 5 years old fell nearly 3 percentage points between January and June of 2025, reaching its lowest level in over 3 years. While flexible and remote work previously enabled more women, particularly mothers, to remain employed, return to office requirements have pushed many out, with CEOs openly acknowledging greater losses of female talent. And while working from home has shown to be an enabler of increased workforce participation for working moms, there are some drawbacks. Surveys have shown that women who work from home have reported receiving less feedback and mentorship than their in-office peers, perhaps raising new barriers to career advancement. And additionally, mothers working remotely often face the motherhood penalty: less pay, fewer raises, and limited promotion prospects, while those forced back in person are sometimes left with the only option to quit. It can become a lose-lose situation for moms: insist on working remotely and perhaps see their careers stall out, or return to the office and encounter issues of childcare, commuting, and worsening work-life balance, and sometimes deciding it's not worth it after all and leaving the workforce entirely. So despite recent gains in women's workforce participation rates, the erosion of flexibility risks lasting damage to women's financial independence and retirement readiness. Let's look at some of the data that backs up these arguments. Labor force participation of mothers with young children dropped from 69.7% to 66.9% between January and June of 2025, a drop of just about 3 percentage points. 212,000 women aged 20 and older have left the workforce since January 2025, and that's compared to 44,000 men who have joined the workforce. And full-time office requirements among Fortune 500 firms rose to 24% in the second quarter of 2025, and that's up from only 13% at the end of 2024. This pullback in women's workforce participation follows the widespread rollback of remote and flexible work policies that initially ushered many mothers back into the job market. Major corporations and the federal government have now instituted strict return to office mandates, with many now requiring 5 days a week in-person attendance. And for many mothers, this loss of flexibility means a logistical and financial nightmare. JP Morgan Chase, AT&T, and others have ramped up their in-office requirements in 2025, with analysis showing that the share of Fortune 500 companies with full-time mandates has nearly doubled since 2024. And compounding these changes are rising childcare costs, the closures of childcare centers due to lapsing federal aid and the inability to recruit childcare workers, and even a small but noticeable trend in some areas of a return to more traditional gender roles. Social media movements like Wife encourage women to prioritize home and children, amplified by calls from political leaders for more parents to stay at home. How much of an actual impact these trends have made in the workforce participation numbers is uncertain, but anecdotally it seems like there have been some effects. And for many families facing unaffordable childcare, the decision is an economic necessity rather than a cultural choice. Black women and those women with college degrees have been hit especially hard. The unemployment rate for Black women climbed to its highest rate in nearly 4 years, and federal layoffs and the dismantling of diversity initiatives have eliminated stable jobs that disproportionately supported minority women. Experts interviewed by the Washington Post warn that these trends, if left unchecked, will have huge implications for women's lifetime earnings, career prospects, and retirement security. With breaks in employment history, women frequently return to lower-paying jobs and face diminished opportunities for advancement. And studies, including a 2024 University of Pittsburgh analysis, similarly show that aggressive return-to-office mandates have led to a loss of senior employees, many of them women, threatening productivity and competitiveness. For CEOs and business leaders, the question isn't just how to bring people back into the office, it's who might be left behind in the process. Return to office mandates, while often well intentioned, can unintentionally place the heaviest burdens on working mothers, many of whom carry the dual load of professional demands and caregiving responsibilities. If leaders only focus on their personal preference for in person work, they risk shrinking their talent pool, weakening their culture, and sending an unintended message about whose contributions are truly valued. The truth is, supporting working moms is more than a nice to have, it's a smart business strategy. Retaining experienced, highly skilled employees saves money, preserves institutional knowledge, and fosters loyalty that can't easily be replicated by new hires. Beyond the bottom line, it strengthens communities as well. When working mothers thrive, families thrive, and the ripple effects benefit schools, neighborhoods, and local economies. Leaders who think more broadly and inclusively about return to office policies are not just adapting to the needs of the local workforce, they're building a more resilient, equitable, and successful organization for the future. That's it for today. Thanks so much for listening, and a big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. If this episode made you think about how your organization treats flexibility and inclusion, please share it with a colleague. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3 HR Advisors.